You're watching ChillyBoy Productions. I'm Larry, ChillyBoy Chilson, and this is my recap and review for the 2024 Academy Awards. Now, before we get into talking all things Oscars, make sure to go ahead and click that subscribe button down below so that you can chill with me on each and every one of my latest videos. So that's it. Finally, we have arrived at the biggest night in cinema. Yeah, we need to move this thing back to February, y'all. March 10th is far too late. We've already moved on to next year's contenders. We gotta move this back closer to the year we're celebrating. But regardless, we're here to talk about tonight's Academy Awards ceremony. From all of the big moments, the big winners, and of course, the fashions, we're going to talk about everything that went down at the Academy Awards. Now, as always, here on my recaps and reviews, we kick things off with the fashions. Let's talk the red carpet, the best and the worst dressed of the evening. So, kicking off with the best dressed of the evening. This year was a weird year because I thought a lot of people just kind of looked very nice, but I wouldn't necessarily say I thought they were best dressed. People like America Ferrera, for example, looked stunning. It was fine. She just made it look good. And I think that was the case for a lot of people when it came to the red carpet. These folks, however, stood apart from the crowd with just some great style on that red carpet. And we're going to kick things off with Anya Taylor-Joy in this really unique, gorgeous ensemble. This soft white and silver dress that had this kind of fish scale bottom motif that looked beautiful. It was a really individual style. It was different than anything we've really seen. It was stood out amongst this crowd for sure. Fit her body really well, didn't swallow her up or bring too much attention. Still had this beautiful touch of class. I really enjoyed everything about Anya's look. Next, we have Carey Mulligan, who went with a classic, a beautiful black dress with a stunning white trumpet finish. The cut of this dress fits her like a glove. The wonderful opera gloves are a beautiful touch. She is the silhouette of the Oscarette statue, if you will, and she looked gorgeous in it. If anything, I wish maybe the hairstyling was just a little different and some kind of necklace here, but otherwise, the dress itself was top notch. The fashion king himself once again delivered, and that is Sir Coleman Domingo, who once again stunned. And I have to admit, I particularly love when he takes a risk on color, so I was a little bit let down when it was black and white. However, this is how you take the classic black and white, the Oscar look for men, and give it a fresh update. Give it a new coat, if you will. I loved this little bow tie. I love the double-breasted suit. It looks so good on him. It is styled and tailored to perfection. The shoes are great. The jewelry really accentuates all of the jewelry going on just on the garment itself. And when you sell it with this much swag, yeah, Coleman is almost always going to be on the best dress list. The fashion queen, Lupita Nyong'o, returns once again to remind us the fashion icon that she is in this gorgeous, light, soft blue gown. Lupita always uses color to absolute perfection, and I adored this color on her. I also adored the sparkles, the glitter, the glam against her skin. It just glowed. She was glowing, and the dress was right there with her. The feathers at the bottom of this dress are gorgeous. Now, I think this would have really went over the top if the feathers in the middle either were just a bit more or even just on the sides or out altogether, to be honest, and it filled out a little bit more at the bottom. So either go full with that midsection feather area peplum or just take it out altogether. But otherwise, the dress is gorgeous and she looked amazing in it. Now, Ryan Gosling gave me a twofer, to be honest. I loved his red carpet look. I loved this black suit. It was a lot more casual. Obviously, he had it buttoned way down. He is in his sexy Ken era, and I thought it looked great. It was like very rock star chic. I loved the like rhinestone embellishments, the glitter here on his shirt and on his jacket. He just looked great, sleek, and sexy. But honestly, it was his I'm Just Ken performance outfit that stole the whole damn show. Honestly, just amazing. It blew my mind. That pink suit with all of those rhinestones on it was, oh, it literally like took my breath away when I saw him out there performing in that. It was so good. Then my man, my new boo thing, Taylor Zakar Perez, showed up to the Oscars and did not show up to play. I love this blue suit. It is just enough different and cool and edgy while still giving us like classic red carpet ready. The blue itself is gorgeous. It's tailored beautifully, and I love the styling here with the all black. The black on the collar is great as well. It's just a really nice, somewhat simple, but still unique look for a man. And then finally, my best dressed had to go to Zendaya. I thought she looked stunning. Easily the most gorgeous dress that was worn tonight. Such a beautiful, lovely, unique color. I loved this pattern with the gray silver motif that went across that light red pink. Oh, it was gorgeous. The one shoulder worked so well. The styling for her hair and minimal jewelry worked beautifully with this gown. It fit her like a glove, completely enveloped her body. She was a vision. And it really wasn't even that close to competition for me. Zendaya came out of the Oscars as the best dressed. I also do want to give just a quick shout out to the Osage Nation who showed up on the red carpet. They all looked stunning as well as a collective. I love seeing their culture represented. I love that they were here in force and representing their culture as they saw fit, and they all looked great doing it. Now, starting off the worst dress list, I just want to talk about two people who are kind of on the in between, but I'm putting here because something just kind of made me want to mention them in the worst. I don't think they were necessarily horribly dressed or they didn't look bad. They still looked nice, but just some oddities here. And the first one is Emily Blunt. So this structure up on the shoulders was very odd, how it like was so stiff up here. I found the entire construction of that top portion to be weird. It didn't really work for me. This dress, it didn't look like it needed these ultra structured shoulder straps that literally sat up off of her shoulders. They were so rigid. But the thing that really killed this dress for me was this weird like panties on the outside of the dress, the skirt of it. I don't know what that design is supposed to be, but it literally just looks like some old panty line. I don't understand it. I don't know why it's there. It doesn't feel like it's making a statement. It feels like it's trying to be elegant, and instead it just looks like awkward panties on the outside of the dress or something. I don't know, but I didn't like it. And the other I need to mention is Margot Robbie. I just found this to be so boring and so bland. She has been doing these Barbie inspired looks all season long. And then when we get to the Academy Awards, you decide to pull out a basic black dress. Oh, I was so disappointed. I was so excited to see what Margot was going to pull out as her Barbie look. And she just gave us this pretty bland, pretty boring, sparkly black dress. Add to that, the hairstyling was just nothing. So it also wasn't all that flattering. She had this black dress and no anything on the neck. I didn't understand that either. It was all just so uninspired, and I didn't even really like the cut of the dress either. The neckline is very strange. It didn't work for me. On top of, I was just disappointed that she let us down when we got to the biggest show of the whole season. She stopped giving us the goods like she had been all season. Okay, so this next one really kills me because her win was one of my favorite wins of the entire evening. I was so happy for her, but I have to mention Davine Joy Randolph. Oh, I don't know. She had this beautiful picture of this stunning gown on her like Instagram on social media that I was hoping she would wear. And instead, she came out looking like Baby Blue Big Bird. I don't know what these things on her arm are, but they were horrendous. Honestly, this dress would be just fine and wouldn't be on best, but I don't know if it'd be on the worst either. If she just lost those cotton candy poofs taking up her entire arms. I don't necessarily love the kind of haltery strap going on up here either. But other than that, the color is lovely. The dress itself is fine, if not a bit basic, but oof, those poops, girl. Poof, let them be gone. Cynthia Erivo is clearly trying to channel her inner evil witch, wicked witch of the West, in this green ensemble, as is her co-star, who we'll talk about momentarily. No, ma'am, I don't know what this dress really is. I don't know what these sleeves are. Make her look like some sort of lizard with the shape of it. I don't get it. I don't like it. Even the cut line here kind of makes the entire breast area look flattened and weird and strange. Of course, the mug is always right, but I don't know. It's just pretty much from here all the way back is terrible. Like the regular just like gown part of her dress looks beautiful, and I think this color could have worked, but I don't know what this is, girl. Desert Lizard Couture, I suppose. Oh, Melissa McCarthy, what in the hell is this? Um, the red dress on its own is fine until you get to this horrible flower just like on her hip. It's bunched in a really weird place, and that is placed at a horrible spot on her body. So even just the base red dress fails because of this dang flower just tacked on at the last minute. And then we get the bed sheets. I don't understand what this cape thing is that goes over the top of the sleeves. It poofs on top of the red sleeve underneath to make a cape down the back. The colors are not very complimentary. Like I said, it literally looks like someone's bed sheets, somebody's old, tired, romantic silk bed sheets that she just kind of like tucked in into the back. You know how you do when you're a kid and you want to be a superhero with a cape? Well, this was Melissa McCarthy's version. She wanted to upscale her Oscar dress. So she just pulled them sheets up off the bed, tucked them on into the dress, and just put a little pin here, put a little pin here, and said, let's hit it. The construction is baffling on this thing. I don't understand it. I don't know why that thing is on the back. It's crazy. It looks crazy. Her hair is stunning though. Her mug is beautiful. But man, this dress, she walked out on that stage to present, and I was like, what are we doing? Dwayne The Rock Johnson, um, hmm. First, can we take a stop at the dry cleaners and have our suits pressed before we come to the show, please? Especially if they are in this silky fabric, because this looked crazy the way he presented it. It's also tight. This was giving like Hugh Hefner vibes down at the damn Bunny Ranch. Just got out the grotto and threw this on to go meet his old girls upstairs. I don't know. The color's kind of cool, but not in this fabric. And then that underlining of the maroonish burgundy red underneath. I didn't get it. I didn't get this whole look. The suede shoes, none of it. Very old school Playboy. And then finally, my pick for the worst dressed of the evening is easily Ariana Grande. What in the world? I clearly can see that she and Cynthia Erivo decided to try to play up their characters for Wicked coming up to be Glinda and to be Elphaba, blah, blah, blah. But they both just did it in the worst ways possible. And Ariana's came out looking the worst. Just the base dress on its own is hideous. This ribbing that goes all the way down it is so unflattering and not pretty to look at. The shoes and that point don't work for me. The cut of this dress even does not flatter Ariana Grande in the way that needed to be flattered. I get that she went super small with the dress because she was going super big with the accessory, but it just didn't look good on her. She went over to Melissa McCarthy's house. She saw Melissa took off the satin sheets, and she said, "Well, just give me that pink bedspread. Give me the whole comforter, please. Just put a tuck here, and said, let's hit it." Because this is literally a bed comforter. She just lugging around the red carpet. hideous. There's no structure to this. There's no rhyme or reason to this. It was trying to be kind of cutesy, fairy, princess-like, and instead it's like a worst nightmare. And instead, she gave us a pink coated nightmare on the red carpet. She looks like she's ready to just lay down and go to sleep at any time. I know the Oscars run long, girl, but that don't mean you have to bring your own bed to the ceremony. What in the world? Oh, yeah. So let me know who you think were the best and the worst dressed at this year's Academy Awards. I think it was a real mixed bag this year. Some real crazy looks, some stunners, and a lot of people that just looked nice in between, in my estimation. So now let's get on to the ceremony itself. So if you checked out my predictions video, ultimately, I ended up getting 18 out of 23 correct this year. That's right. I missed 5 of them, but that is one more than I got last year. I think I got 17 right last year. So, we're back on the come up. I was hoping to do even a little bit better this year, but the Academy's gonna Academy, I suppose. But we're back with the host, and it's Jimmy Kimmel. Hmm. I still don't see the need, y'all. I know some people are so pro host. They have the days of Billy Crystal just stuck in their noggins. But really, this year for me specifically showcased why we don't need a host. Because so many of the presenters, they had these little pairings of presenters who came out and gave out their awards were hilarious. Honestly, the presentations themselves were some of the most entertaining and funny speeches and gags and skits that I've seen at the Oscars in years. And then there was Jimmy Kimmel, who didn't give us anything that was really funny, memorable, nothing. So why do you need a host if you just get good presenters paired up to do some fun, cute bits when they go to give the awards? It keeps it entertaining, it keeps the flow going, and then we don't have to cut back to this person. We don't have to get the cringy opening monologue, none of that. I'm advocate, no host, let the presenters give us the entertainment value. But Jimmy Kimmel's opening monologue actually wasn't terrible, oddly enough. It wasn't good, but it wasn't like bad. And I think that's because by and large, outside of one big error that we'll talk about momentarily, he kept it safe. The jokes were very safe, they were very standard. Most of the night, he kept it safe to the same old we've heard a million times that we hear all the time. And he didn't deviate too far from that. It seemed like most of the people were bouncing back and forth with him. They thought his jokes were fine, nothing too crazy. And then we got to Robert Downey Jr., and he lost his damn mind for having a set that was so safe and so not wanting to ruffle anybody's feathers, for him to turn and start making drug jokes at Robert Downey Jr. was wild. And immediately, Robert Downey Jr. was not having it, tried to politely brush him away. He didn't quite get the message. So Robert Downey Jr. literally had to like say, move on. Just move on. I'm not here for this. Nobody's here for this. We get it, bruh, go. Like it was so bad and so cringe. I was literally just like so uncomfortable watching that one segment. And then the only other part that Kimmel really flopped was later in the show, asking the Academy voters to raise their hand if they had their kids fill out the ballot for the animation categories. Can we just stop that, please? I'm begging. I will forever be on this crusade for animation to get the respect it deserves. And it seems the Academy will forever be giving me reasons to crusade for the cause. Because yet again, here we are, relegating animation to for kids only, a lesser than category that actual voting members don't fill out. They let their kids do it, blah, blah, blah. It's the same old bullish every single year. And we got to start with people like Jimmy Kimmel. People hosting the Oscars need to start respecting the medium, respecting the films that are nominated, rather than making a joke out of an entire craft amongst the industry, an entire craft that helped keep the entire industry afloat during things like the pandemic. It's really annoying. Honestly, it's actually infuriating to have this continually happen, and it happened yet again. But I will give Jimmy Kimmel credit. One, taking the piss out of the rich folks. You know what? Even if it makes them a little bit uncomfortable, I'm always down with dragging a rich folk. So I know he's one of their colleagues. So I think he said we and put himself in there. But what I loved about that segment is that he brought out the behind the scenes people, the sound, the lighting folks, the drivers, all of them. And he brought the ones out that at least were working on that broadcast to give them respect. And the whole room gave him a standing ovation because, yeah, that's who was most affected by these strikes. And they stood in solidarity with the much more well-off folks, even though they were the ones who were hurt the most by it. So big kudos to Jimmy Kimmel for showing some respect to them. My biggest highlight early on in the show for sure was Messi the dog did get to come to the Oscars. We did it, y'all. You stupid old stuffy people were trying to keep on Messi from attending. He had his own seat and everything. He was clapping at one point. Messi stole the show, and we love to see it. Icon, legend, Messi will always be the moment. And honestly, let's call it what it is. Should have been nominated for Best Supporting Actor. It was even mentioned several times in the telecast. But I was so happy that Neon didn't let whoever was complaining about Messi coming keep him away, and he got to come. Then we had these presentations this year, how the awards were actually presented, and they were presented in a very strange fashion. All of our acting categories brought back five past winners to give a short monologue about each of the nominees in presentation of them. And I think it was lovely on paper. Honestly, the supporting actress one, it took the longest, but it was also the most heartfelt and felt the most personal between like the presenter and the nominee. So that one was the one I enjoyed the most, even though I thought it took way too much time. But as we went on, I don't know, they just never quite landed right. It never felt as personal again. It kind of felt weird with what was being said. They were obviously just reading off a cue card. Sometimes people didn't even know like where they were finishing, and we just sat there awkwardly afterward. Like Jennifer Lawrence just kind of abruptly ended hers, and it just felt so impersonal that I was like, "What are we doing?" So it seemed like a lovely idea, but I think we should just go back to clips. I don't know why the Oscars and so many of these other award shows insist on trying to get away from showing clips of films. I don't get it because that's literally what we're here for. Let us see the moment within the movie that they were nominated for. Or at the very least, if you're going to have somebody talk, have them speak over the top of like a real clip, if even if it's muted, something. I don't know. There just has to be better ways to do this. So cute idea. Execution wasn't great. Then we got to best song and best picture. So these two are an interesting case because their nominees are kind of presented to us throughout the telecast. Obviously, the song with each individual performance, and then best picture, we have all 10 that get a real short little segment. Once we come back from commercial break, they showcase it. Does that mean we don't do one final like and our nominees are before just reading off the winner? That was so weird. When they did it for Best Original Song, they just walked up, okay, and Best Original Song is. I was like, wait a minute, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like, you're not gonna do a rundown real quick? We don't have to do a package for them. Can we at least just list off who it is? And then Al Pacino did it again for Best Picture. Now, Al Pacino, were you on that sauce or were you just tired? Were you ready to hit the hay? 7 o'clock? You were like, I gotta go. We need to wrap this mess up. He literally just walked out and said, all right, I'm giving Best Picture. Let me open up. I'm seeing Oppenheimer in here. What? Sir, you're presenting the biggest award of the night. Can we get a little bit build up? Can we get a little bit of like fanfare celebration? He literally, oh, am I seeing Oppenheimer? I sure am. Oh, that was it. That's how we presented. Okay. It was crazy, like truly crazy how Pacino presented that craziness. I don't even know. Then, of course, we had the In Memoriam section, which was conflicting for me this year. It's always conflicting, it seems. They can never like totally nail it. But I thought the singing and the song choice obviously were absolutely beautiful. The presentation of it looked gorgeous. The dancing was beautiful. Everything felt so like respectful, but yet still a celebration of these people's lives. So, really, from an aesthetic point and the music, I thought it was gorgeous. And I was ready to say this is like the best we've seen in years. But then the camera angles were doing very weird things. I don't know, at one point they opened up the screen and then they displayed the person on the two outer screens, but we could hardly see the two outer screens. So we couldn't really see who they were trying to tell us, and they took away the screen that was easier to see, and then they had to like swoop in the camera angle to like get the screen again. I don't know. It was a very weird camera work that distracted from the people we were honoring rather than like enhanced it and celebrated them. And then the ending was in real poor taste to me. So they go through as usual, they show the pictures, and I really liked how they were doing it with like five different people. So they would put three up, bring the other two up, and send those three back, and then bring up three new ones. I thought that actually was a really lovely way to kind of do it in a more group setting. Not how they ended it. They put that screen back up at the very end and just listed a bunch of names on this like big circle screen, and that was it. So a lot of people on Twitter I saw were like, "Oh my God, Lance Reddick wasn't even in the In Memoriam. What are we doing?" He was. He was just one of those little names that they slapped up on that ending screen. So I don't know why they chose to do that. And the shot was far back. So if you're going to put a bunch of names on a screen, we need to be right up on that screen. Let people be able to read it, not just like slowly fade the names in while we're a mile back. So once again, they found a way to kind of disrespect a lot of people, which was disappointing because before that, there was so much good about this in memoriam that it's frustrating that they made a couple decisions that just really took away from that celebration. And then we got to talk about the musical performances of the night, right? Of course. So, of course, we had five Best Original Songs, all of which got performed live at the Oscars. I personally really enjoy it. I know some people have big old problems with it. I like the entertainment value of getting these live performances. So, Billie Eilish was great. Sounded like she sounded great. And the presentation was lovely. But woo, those sound mixers for the Academy were not prepared for Billie's style of singing. Her mic was so low. I think they just set it to like a standard mic level against the instrumentation and the piano. But we all know Billie sings soft and she sings quite soft in What Was I Made For? And I thought she just got drowned out. Even before the orchestra came in, that piano was really just kind of overtaking Billie's vocals. I was like, somebody turn Billie's mic up, please. I want to hear it. And then we had Hua Say, which I thought was a beautiful performance and a really impactful, emotional performance. John Baptiste, I'm not going to say too much, but it was rough. I think Mr. Baptiste was trying to find the key, so maybe they're having some issues with the tech. I don't know, but a little bit rough. Then we got Becky G, who gave a fun performance. We were bopping this little Hot Cheeto song, and it lasted all of 5 seconds. I was like, what the hell? That was the shortest performance I ever did see. We really brought out, international superstar. I know Becky G's not as huge here in the States, but my Central Latin, South America homies know that Becky G is a star. So we really got her out here to the Oscars for her to step on stage for like a minute and do a little ditty and get off. That was wild. But of course, Ken stole the night. I mean, what a performance. Ryan Gosling had so much pressure because we were all anticipating it. They were talking about all these dancers. Of course, we just knew that he was going to bring it. So there was so much pressure on this performance to live up. And he blew it out of the park. Like, it was better than I could have anticipated. His outfit literally blew my mind. Like, I screamed in my living room when I saw him in that pink suit. It was so good. The choreography, the homage to Marilyn, all of it was amazing. All of the other cans coming out. Slash in this performance. Ryan starting the performance behind Margot was hilarious. Him going out and having Greta and all the other castmates singing the song with him. Amazing. Emma Stone also got involved. The dancing was wonderful. The Barbie heads were amazing. The production was so freaking good. Everything about it. His vocals. Ryan Gosling killed it vocally. When I tell you this is one of the best performances I have ever seen at the Academy Awards, that is not an exaggeration. It was so good. And honestly, kinda stole the show as the highlight of the whole night. So Barbie, you may have only won one award, but not only did you win like the culture wars of 2023, the box office of 2023, but thanks to Ryan Gosling and Ken, you pretty much stole the Oscars telecast as well because that performance was amazing, top tier. And you see, if we didn't perform the original songs during the telecast, we would miss out on amazing, epic, all-timer moments like I'm Just Ken. But as I mentioned earlier, throughout the night, our presenters were really the ones giving us the entertainment value, and we had a lot of duos who killed it. So what they did tonight was a lot of promotion. I mean, they'd used tonight as Hollywood promotion. We had a bunch of pairings, including like my husband, Chris Hemsworth, and Anya Taylor-Joy, obviously there to kind of remind you Mad Max, Furiosa coming up. And we had a lot of such pairings of people in upcoming films together, presenting awards together. And one of those was Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling. Oh my gosh, I thought they were hilarious. It made me much more excited to go see Fall Guy. They had this Barbenheimer bit going back and forth about how Oppenheimer did definitively much better during the award circuit, but Barbie obviously definitively did much better cultural wise, specifically box office last year. So it was really fun. That joke about, well, at least our DJ didn't have to fake draw on his abs to get a nomination. It was great. They were funny. I loved it. Then we had this amazing bit with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito presenting for visual effects. And they just go down this rabbit hole of Batman and being Batman villains and calling Batman a son of a bitch. Saying, "Oh, he's here. How dare you show your face?" And the camera cuts to Michael Keaton, who is killing it in the audience as well. Oh, it was so good. Honestly, I was like, you know what? Batman reboot right now. Get them all three on set. Get them in a film together. Arnold and Danny had such great chemistry together, but they were both hilarious, and I loved it. I loved everything about that little Batman moment. And then, of course, we had John Mulaney, who went on and on during his sound presentation, but had some really great monologues and jokes in there, probably better than Jimmy Kimmel's opening, making his own case to host. But you know my thoughts on that. We don't need John Mulaney or anybody else hosting, to be honest. But then we get to my next personal favorite, which was Kate McKinnon and America Ferrera having this bit about dinosaurs being real versus VFX, and Kate McKinnon learning that Jeff Goldblum was CGI and she'd been sending her nudes to Steven Spielberg. Honestly, Steven Spielberg was great the whole night. I know people were like, he just seems so sad, but obviously he was in it. He was having fun in the bit. So I thought he was great. Every time they cut to him was a good time, and I thought that entire running bit was hilarious. Now, when it comes to the winners of the evening, all of the major predictions were right for the most part. The only one that was in flux, well, I got wrong, but it was in flux. But Best Picture, Best Director, both went to Oppenheimer and Christopher Nolan. Finally, on his eighth nomination, Christopher Nolan is finally an Academy Award winner. Well deserved, long overdue for him. And his speech about being accepted as part of, film history was really nice as well. Both supporting actor and actress, we knew were locked up. Cillian Murphy won as expected. Davine Joy Randolph basically opened the show with her being the first category announced, was beautiful. I mean, her acceptance speech was really emotional and gorgeous. RDJ and Killian were not even in the slightest emotional. I don't know. They're like, thanks, and walked off the stage like they were like, I'm out of here. Some of my favorite wins of the evening, however, came with Cord Jefferson winning Best Adapted Screenplay, mostly because, one, I love the film, so I was not mad at it, but two, his acceptance speech was amazing. A call to action to spend your money on taking chances on new filmmakers, on filmmakers who have small films to tell. His line about not spending 50 million on one movie, but instead spending it on $51 million movies and getting your way that way, letting people break into the industry, finding that next Christopher Nolan. If you don't give them that shot, you never will. So it was a great speech, a wonderful call to action. Honestly, probably my favorite speech of the entire evening. My other favorite speech was definitely 20 Days in Mariupol for Best Documentary Feature. Oh, it was just a really an impactful speech saying, I wish I didn't have to make this film. I wish I wasn't up here winning this award, because that would have meant, Russia never invaded Ukraine. It was an emotional, really heartfelt, beautiful moment from the director and the filmmakers up there. Really touching. I thought it was a beautiful speech. Then, of course, my personal favorite win of the entire evening was Godzilla minus one actually did it. Yes. I was so nervous. I was so scared. But Godzilla minus one was the winner for best visual effects. Godzilla is finally an Oscar winning character, franchise, IP, whatever you want to call it. After 75 years, Godzilla is an Academy Award winner. It just won the Japanese Academy Award for best film, and now it won for visual effects. I was really disappointed that they cut the cast and crew off when they were trying to give their speeches, but I was so happy that they won. I love that they were still holding their Godzillas on stage. They've been touting those Godzillas. They had Godzilla themed shoes. They lived, breathed, and ate Godzilla this award season, and could not be happier for that film, for Godzilla as a character, as a huge Godzilla fan myself, obviously, and for those that won the award. It was a little bit funny that Wes Anderson finally won an Oscar for Best Live Action Short Film and wasn't there to pick it up. But now I gotta talk about my least favorites. Gotta talk about my disappointments of the night. I have to say it, I personally was disappointed with both animated awards tonight. Animated short film, I knew what was going to win. Obviously, I predicted War is Over to win, but my goodness, they really picked that. I'm sorry if you liked the film, but I was like, oh, I knew the Academy was going to do this. I knew they were so sentimental and goopy and all that bull crap. Oh, and they did it. They did it. So, yeah, that was a disappointing win. And then we got to Best Animated Feature Film. And look, Miyazaki is the GOAT. I love Hayao Miyazaki. I love Studio Ghibli. I'm happy that another foreign language film won this award. I'm happy that the second 2D animated film won this award. I'm happy that this is the second Studio Ghibli film to win this award. It broke all of those records, the first to do any of those things since Spirited Away. Oh, but I just felt on every level, honestly, Across the Spider-Verse should have won this. So I'm going to hold out that they're saving this award for Beyond the Spider-Verse. That's what my heart has to believe right now, particularly when it comes to not nominating it for score, for picture, for visual effects, for anything else. We need to rectify that with Beyond. But I can't lie. Yeah, I'm sorry. If you watched my top films of 2023, you'll see The Boy and the Heron was in my top 20. I really enjoyed that film. I just happen to also enjoy two of the other nominees more than I enjoyed it. So, yeah, it was a bit of a bummer for me personally. All I have to say, I was disappointed in production design. Look, I predicted it right. I predicted costumes and production were both going to Poor Things. The Academy loved Poor Things. But man, I wanted to split so bad. I can't even imagine watching these films and not wanting to split the two categories. Give one of the awards to Poor Things, give one of the awards to Barbie. They both had amazing production and amazing costumes, and I think both of them deserve to at least win one of them. So, I don't know. I just find it really disappointing. Particularly, I would have said production design for Barbie. I knew they weren't going to do it. People were trying to convince me that costumes was going to go to Barbie. I knew they weren't going to do that either. I was right. I just didn't want to be right. And the lack of Barbie across the board, particularly, it only won for Best Original Song. Billie Eilish, great honor, already a two-time winner with her brother Phineas, both two-time winners under 30. But really, for none of the filmmaking aspects getting awarded for Barbie, like production, costume, hair, and makeup not even getting a nomination, it was wild. I was actually really happy that The Zone of Interest beat out Oppenheimer for Best Sound. If you watch my predictions, you know I predicted Oppenheimer, but I was kind of hoping we'd get that upset, and we did. So, congrats to that. It was a very inspired choice that is not what you'd expect, particularly with all the Poor Things like dominating, Oppenheimer dominating. It kind of felt like one of those nights that they weren't going to take a risk like that, so I was so happy they did. And then the disappointment. And I know they saved it for second to last because it was the only competitive one of the big categories. Best lead actress. Y'all, look, I like Emma Stone quite a bit, and I thought she was very good in Poor Things. But I cannot lie to you. I am gutted that Lily Gladstone did not win this. Her performance was just something special, to be honest, like really special. Emma Stone gave a good performance to me, a very good performance that was more than worthy than the praise it was getting. But Lily Gladstone's performance just was something special. And you add that to all of the historical significance outside of it. I was really sad about it. I can't lie. That was one win I was most hoping to get right in my predictions. Most, that one that you're really passionate about. And for me, it was Lily Gladstone this year amongst the acting categories. So it was a big bummer. And honestly, you could kind of feel maybe not in the room itself, but amongst all of the people like watching and commenting on Twitter and in my different group chats, the life was kind of sucked out of us out of that. So like once it got to Best Picture, we were all kind of like, yay. And part of that is also Al Pacino's delivery of Best Picture was wild, but it just really sucked the life out of the room. And I don't know, I was really disappointed. But congrats to Emma Stone. She's now a two-time Oscar winner. And, it's not a bad win by any means, but just a disappointing one for me. Yeah, overall, this year's telecast was very up and down. I was like a little bit like, "Whoo, we need to move this along," because they did that presentation style early on. We only did one award in the first 30 minutes of the whole show, but they only ran like 10 minutes past the hour or so, I think. So I don't know, it was a pretty quick show. They also started late. That was weird. Maybe if they had started on time, we only would have been like five, maybe even on time. Huh? But it moved pretty quickly. It moved pretty nicely. We had some really funny stuff happening tonight. And of course, we had that amazing performance for I'm Just Ken. Otherwise, most of the categories kind of went as anticipated by and large. Even the ones that I got wrong, it went to the other one I was considering. Literally, for Best Actress, it was Lily Gladstone or Emma Stone. For Best Sound, it was The Zone of Interest or Oppenheimer. Documentary short, I thought it was between ABC's A Book Banning or The Last Repair Shop. Makeup, it was Poor Things or Maestro, and animated features, Spider-Verse or Boy and the Heron. So all of them really lined up with at least the top two of what everyone thought it was going to be. So not really a surprising night, but overall a pretty enjoyable ceremony, if I do say so myself. I had some fun. And it just sucks that Best Actress kind of came so late and deflated all of my excitement right at the end of the show. But that's it. That is my recap review for the 2024 Oscars. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this Oscar season. Let me know all of your thoughts, your best and worst dress, your favorite moments from the evening, how you did on your own predictions, all of that. Leave it either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel so that you are always up to date on all of my latest videos. I love you all so much for your continued support. Mwah! Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye!